Hello everybody, welcome back to BloomClan. We're continuing on where we've left off, where all patrols are out. We are looking for Bumblebee, so she can maybe, or he. I didn't really check. What gender are you? Does it tell me? So she can be reunited with her kittens. Because we have all 4 of her kittens. Like Kit, Stone Kit, Summit Kit, and DiGiorno Kit. Wait, what did it say her thing was on? Oh my god. That's beautiful. Concocts a plan for world domination just for fun. That's such a cat thing to do. Okay, but what I'm thinking is gonna happen, at least through this episode, is we're just gonna focus on cats hunting. I might make it so Sunny Star is the only cat going on border patrol, because clearly we are in a bit of a famine, or on the edge of one. Oh, the cat died of that. Okay. Continuing on. Yes, you will be our sole border patrol. Okay. Healers go on their solo patrols to get herbs. I know, this is what slows down the patrols so much. But yeah, as stated in the last episode, the hope is around the end of the year I'll be able to do a poll. I might also put it on YouTube. I might. Where it's to decide what replaces BloomClan. Because I like the idea of swapping back and forth every once in a bit for Clan Gen, which will still be every 10 episodes. Dice Clan, I don't plan to put anywhere because I like my custom challenge. It allows me to roll my dice, because I do have physical dice. It's just, in some spots, I have to use my phone for a random generator. Like, I have some ideas and thoughts, too, about making sure I have a list of everybody in the clan, and potentially, using my 2 D10s, aka my percentile dial, to potentially roll for mass extinction events themselves, and those cats can be affected by that, potentially. I don't know. It might be a very random event where I can only do it if I have a certain amount of cats, because I don't want to overdo it. But yeah. Like, I do think if I did do the medicine cat challenge where the clan would lean toward a bunch of medicine cats, I would have to make a rule that there is no mediators allowed. Because as you see right now, I'm struggling with keeping the clan fed. And that's the only like minor issue you'll run into, is the cat's starving because of lack of prey, because everyone's a healer. Even though realistically, the healer should know how to hunt and be able to hunt occasionally. Actually, that's a minor thing in regards to Tales of Rhazie, is healers don't just heal and look for herbs. They are expected in times where you can't really find herbs, aka winter, to occasionally help with hunting. In regards to healers knowing how to fight, it really depends on the group and leader of how much freedom and how much they're allowed to be taught for fighting. Like, they're all expected to know basics of how to defend themselves, but beyond that, it really depends on who's leader and which group it is. Like, Cliff Valley, they expect the healers to be at least decent enough to defend themselves while waiting for help to come to back them up. Better a healer is at fighting, the better the healer is seen, which is why Shadow Knight is very much liked as a healer, because healers are all supposed to help train enforcers to take out cats if needed, kind of deal. Like, not all healers are going to be the best at fighting, but they are expected to train with the enforcers, or cats training to become enforcers. To fight. Enforcers for Cliff Valley are cats who are pretty much more or less trained to fight and kill, and are expected to either listen to the leader, vice, or healer. And in times of challenge, they are actually expected to be able to even challenge the leader themselves. There is a reason in Cliff Valley that hunters, scouts, and whatnot don't become leader. Usually, it's because Cliff Valley, unlike the other groups, you can, technically speaking, challenge a leader to become leader, and that can easily be to the death. And to some degree, enforcers are expected to actually listen to the healers and potentially take out the leader under the healer's order. Not always, but sometimes. Usually in times where a rogue is taken over. Oh no. Rip Dogtoe. But yeah. Meanwhile, Cliffly Dawn, they expect the healer to know at least the basics of fighting for the most part. But usually will only have escorts to make sure nothing happens to them. Especially when the Eastern Rogues are clearly being active around the group. River Valley, they don't usually worry about cats attacking their healers. I say this knowing that in Apprentice times, their healer gets attacked. But healers also usually tend to go out with hunting patrols in River Valley, so there's usually other cats semi-nearby hunting while they're looking for herbs. And once again, in winter, they are somewhat expected to help with hunting. Leader's Den, Outsiders, look for the Bumblebee. Time skip a moon. Okay, Bumblebee has been reunited with her kittens. All is well in the world. Okay. Okay. Okay, Tiger Paw. Why did I move my... I just realized I moved my dice thing to the side, apparently. Okay, you got a 5. You are 4. Yak Kit is Apprentice to... Yak Kit, who are you? Ignoring the fact that you're gonna become a healer in a minute. Who are you? Who are your parents? Huh. Okay. Yeah, Paul, you rolled a 3. You're becoming a healer. Okay, Tempest, you're very correct in the sense of you need a hunt. And you rolled a 4. You will hunt. And Paul rolled a 2. They are a healer. And Paul, I love you. You look so pretty. Get back to events. Okay. Thrift got a 6. And Fluffy Paw got a 4. Okay, continuing in this end of Apprentices, and then once we're done patrolling, we'll lobby it for the moon. I didn't mean to click that. I am just clicking everywhere I don't need to be clicking, apparently. Have I gone through all the groups? Oh yeah, Shadow Force, under most leaderships, healers are expected to defend themselves. Under Slade and Kabuto, and I guess Jack, no. They are not expected to defend themselves. They're expected to be submissive and do whatever the leader wants. To briefly get into it, Jack is a new character for 3rd draft. He is going to be Slade's vice. Partly because Flint never made sense to be his vice. That, and there probably should have been in between Flint and that, but... So, Jack exists. His mate actually is gonna be the more senior healer in Shadow Force. And his mate never wanted kittens. Jack always wanted kittens. Kabuto arrives. Kabuto being Kabuto. with the whole situation with Alia leads to Jack having kittens with his mate. His mate is miserable, henceforth forever, and expected to have kittens whenever he wants, further making her miserable and making her fall out of love because, yeah, he's not listening to what she wants and whatnot. So, toxic relationship devolving into abusive. And then Claire is kind of just been forced into the entire situation. Like, she was always meant to be a healer. She always wanted to be a healer. The shitty truth of it all is if Slade hadn't taken her, she would have ended up in Cliff Valley, and both her and Jewel will be Slade's very much underage mates. Granted, that might have actually, if that had happened, though, if she had ended up in Cliff Valley, there is a chance Falcon would have been deposed of by Gallon. And maybe a few other cats combined, because technically speaking, Falcon was a full-on adult by then. He was 3 to 4 years old, compared to when Jewel was born, and Jewel is older than Claire by, I think, 4 to 6 moons, if I recall correctly. So yeah, that's a whole situation. So the minor downside is Claire's parents were still been murdered. Mink would have been continually, except brought along instead of left to be bleeding out. As a way to blackmail Claire into doing what Falcon wanted versus Slade, what Slade wanted. Granted, Claire even had less. I feel like Claire had less of a chance with Slade. And while Slade is technically speaking within Claire's age range, aka they're within a year of each other, Slade was very much at the age of he knows better, or he should know better, because Claire was 5 moons old when he mated with her, so that's below the lowest, which is 6 moons. Oops, let me clear. Because cats mostly don't try for kittens until they're about 8 moons, even though they're a teenager at that point, because Tales of Razi cats don't become fully grown until 18 months. But 6 months is when puberty starts to hit. They have a very long puberty cycle of being a teenager. I do think it kind of counters it in the sense of I make it that the fact that pregnancy is 4 months instead of 2 months for the cats. I think that helps a little with that, but still, they are cats. They will do cat things. They, technically speaking, have heat cycles. Not that Warriors acknowledges heat cycles at all. Technically speaking, if Warriors wanted to be more realistic, there'd be a lot more kittens in kitten death within the clans. We're not going to acknowledge the incest because ThunderClan is Sweet Home Alabama. ShadowClan apparently is one of the more healthy clans in regards to their family trees. SkyClan somehow the authors decided somehow to go the one route towards incest for them, even though they had the highest chance to not. Okay. Minor things I like to hopefully plan to get finished being written sooner than later actually is something that's temporarily labeled Jace's Escape, which is the third draft version of how Jace got out of Cliff Valley. Like some stuff has changed for the third draft. Like I'm making it so Silver, who is Dustin's mate in the first and second draft. Originally, she got killed in both drafts. But still. I decided in third draft, she's not actually part of Cliff Valley. Instead, Dustin has a prior relationship in Cliff Valley, which will result in a cat named Apple. And Apple will be taken out of Cliff Valley by Dustin due to circumstance I'm not going to get into in this video because that's kind of spoilery. Well, more spoiler than some other plots. Oh jeez. But the good thing about Apple ending up in Cliff Valley Dawn is Apple is a lesbian. She actually is gonna become mates with Star's kid, Lotus, I believe is what I named her. But yeah. Okay, leaders 10, outsiders. Search for Augustus Bramble. But yeah. I'm sorry if I'm delving a lot into Tales of Razi talk right now because brain's somewhat there. Also, might as well explain some stuff. Because I'm aware of some questions. I know one of the things that was talked about in there was, am I going to have a bunch of different, terrains and changes for camps? That is something I need to more so think about on the sidelines. It's very hard for me to think about changing what I've had for practically 12 years of writing for camps. Technically speaking, Cliff of Thy Dawn getting a camp at all is a new thought, and the thought is they're actually going to have multiple camps. So, technically speaking, one of the camps I am thinking of is one of them will have a pond in them. A small pond or something. I don't know for certain how far if I will go into that or not. It's still something up for debate because, as stated, Cliff of Thy Dawn has never had a camp before in my writings. Like, second draft and maybe first draft, we're leaning towards them deciding to make a camp. But how Cliff of Thy Dawn has worked for me is they off and on have had a camp through the generations. It just depends on leadership. After Luna's murder, the cats felt obligated to have a camp, but didn't want the camp to be where the original planned camp was going to be, which was near Luna's den site, which is where Luna got murdered. So they felt bad about that. So they off and on had camp. Technically speaking, under the third draft, I'm on the fence between going into the process of being back in a camp under Ash's leadership, because Ash actually gets to live and be a leader in the third draft. He actually gets to exist. or them deciding partway through the book to have a camp, or they had a camp to begin with. I think during the one shot I wrote, 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago? Actually, how long ago was... I need to double check that, Core Desires was 2 years ago. I think Core Desires started 4 years ago, actually. I could have sworn I started that. Actually, did I start that in 2020, or did I start that in 2022? I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure in 23 I wrote a one-shot. Everything blurs together, by the way. Where I went over in prequel order of Kabuto's, the aftermath of Kabuto conquering the Shadow Forest, up to him leaving the Shadow Forest to go to the Grandflower Meadow, then at Grandflower Meadow, to his son murdering him, to Slade attacking Claire's family and taking her with him, and up to the point she gives birth to her first litter, Slade and Goliath, and 2 nameless kittens. I technically speaking wrote an old version of the prologue where Claire was still Hazel's mother, and she was hiding Hazel and trying to bring more life into her sibling that wasn't responding too much. And he forced Claire to choose between the two, or he would take them both and kill them. And he chose Hazel to live. Granted, that's no longer canon. Heck, Slate doesn't properly know Hazel exists. Not at all. He just knows he mated with her mother against her will. Because that's what's happened. But, yeah. Basically, so many of my characters deserve better. I'm very happy with giving Hazel a very healthy relationship with Thistle, even if the relationship was fast, unnaturally fast, pointed out by the characters themselves. Even Hazel and Thistle acknowledge it. But Thistle never pushes her negatively or anything, and he will adopt her first litter and whatnot. He's good and supportive. That's all that matters. But yeah. Some stuff has changed. Like, Claire's no longer gonna be Hazel's mother, but I did write a prequel bit. I need to actually type it up, and I'll put it under semi-canon one-shots or something. I don't know. Some of it probably will be canon still. Some of it needs to be tweaked, like the things with Claire being the mother of Hazel, because that's no longer true. I don't know if I'll ever finish the end of Mink arriving at Cliff of Thy Dawn with Ash and Todd, but that's a whole other thing. If you guys do want to read what I have written before, in my description, my Wattpad has practically everything I've written, at least in regards to Tales of Razi. I can't say that for Warrior fanfics, because there's one called Runner's Space where I lost the notebook. I think it accidentally got thrown out, and I realized I lost it, funnily enough, on April Fool's Day. Technically speaking, I'm not currently writing any Warriors fanfics. Sometimes I get the itch to, sometimes I feel iffy about it. But all of Tales of Razi pretty much should be in there. Or at least the stuff that's complete. Second draft, I still need to finish. I need to, by the time this video is out, it should be out, hopefully, is Corrupted Desires, because I had like 2 to 3 chapters left, and those are all done now. I just need to put them in Wattpad, but they should be out by the time this video comes out. Chase's Escape, I don't know where I'm putting that, but that I need to finish writing. I'm more interested in trying to get it, second draft done though, because I would like to have a proper conclusion to the second draft, so I can start really writing some of the third draft stuff, even if it's a mix of me going back and forth between prequel content and book 1 and leading up to book 4 or whatever, because I would like to get back into it, but I also have to take it slow because I don't want to rush it. And I just haven't had as much time as to write, because distracted with YouTube. YouTube takes more time than I like to admit. Granted, I also get sidetracked with watching anime and rereading fanfics. Not rereading. I don't think I've ever read any fanfiction. Reading fanfiction, yes. But yeah. With that said, I will see you all in the next episode. If you want to read Tales of Razi content, it's on my Wattpad. If you want to see art of Tales of Razi stuff, that's on my DeviantArt, linked in the description. If you want videos dedicated to Tales of Razi, they're on my second channel. And during Clan Gen, which is me redesigning some pixelated cats, does tend to have me lean into Tales of Razi talks off and on, so there's that. I know I've been leaning into it off and on for for Clan Gen. I can't help it, they're cats. I'm very cat obsessed. I like cats. That's all I can say. But with that said, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!